It is October in 1965 when the Pope came to New York.
Artie is this dreamer.
A family who wants materialistic things.
Being so stuck in fantasy that you leave behind reality.
You know, this desire for recognition, a desire for fame and success. I chose the House of Blue Leaves to be a part of our season because I was looking for a challenge for all of us. The piece provides us with the opportunity to do something that is a little bit kind of on the absurdist side. It's kind of far out in some aspects of it, and I was looking for that challenge for myself as a director and exploring those ideas. And it also had comedy, so I think we were also looking for something as a comedy to be a part of our season this year, and so this piece gave us a little bit of both.
He plays a lot with the ideas of fantasy and reality, and being so stuck in fantasy that you leave behind reality.
With this play, I like to relate it to Death of a Salesman. Death of a Salesman is constantly referred to as a play about the American dream. This piece has a very similar thing of the American dream of it's updated more that the dream is now to go out and be famous, be someone big in Hollywood, but this is a show about what happens when you're not meant to have those dreams.
This playwright, for me, is pulling at, a theme of a family who wants materialistic things. Particularly, I'm thinking of Artie, who wants fame.
And you look at the play, and these people are, just overwhelmed by the Pope being there and Jackie Kennedy and famous people, that they lose sight of the real people in their lives and the relationships that they're not making. And that message is, in 1965, and you think about 2015, is still here, that we're not connecting and noticing and recognizing the people that they're living in an apartment with, who kind of got lost in everybody else's kind of obsession with this fame and fortune.
My research started with YouTube and just researching like the actual day of the Pope coming, and just seeing what was the people's reactions and what kind of videos were made. Was it just of the Pope? Were there other interviews, events, parties, etc. going on? Obviously, it's a different time from 2015 to 1960, so behaviors and things are different.
I look at it this way: this is a piece that, even though it takes place in the 1960s, it takes place in the 1960s because that is when Guerre grew up. That is when the Pope came to New York, and that is the background setting of the piece. I do think it's important to understanding where you are and what you're saying. So to that extent, I've researched anything I've said that I don't know or don't really know what it is.
Well, I feel I still have a lot of research to do, but so far I've looked through the script. There are a lot of references to celebrities and songs. For example, my character talks about the songs Old Black Magic and I Could Have Danced All Night. So it helps to look up those songs and know what they would have sounded like, just so I'm not just saying words, but I actually know. I looked up headshots of Sandra Dee and all the different poses she makes, or even things like this. They're just like, "Hi, I'm Sandra Dee."
My process started last fall, where we started the design process, so it's just a lot of reading and rereading, trying to understand the playwright a little bit more. So reading essays and works about John Guare to go, what influenced him to write this? Well, I think as a director, when you are taking a script, we have words on a page, and so it's what are we going to do with it. I think our space determines that sometimes, so we're doing this in our studio theater, which is a very small, intimate space, and I've been realizing, I'm like, this is a loud play. There's lots of yelling going on, so how that fits in the space. We're in an apartment, so we have what could be a realistic interior, and that's, you know, the challenge of doing that in our studio space versus our large proscenium Hugo stage. So I think the first thing when we do that is we're figuring out where are we going to do this, what elements do we need physically, and then how are we going to tell this story in our space and with our actors.
I read the script over and I play with different options. You know, sometimes when you read a script the first time, you have a certain vision in mind, but then you read it a second time and then a third time, and then you get different ideas. And just taking those ideas and playing with them and see what works.
I'm taking this script and then portraying on a stage is trying to find where Ronnie and I do differ / are similar. I think for an actor, it's key to know that in portraying your character, because it's a different person, different character that you want the audience to see.
I kind of get the feeling of who this character is and kind of get the picture of him inside my head and let that transfer into my body. For the most part, especially for a show like this where it is in a realistic setting, it's trying to be truthful and honest to the character and to the world. Often I have music playing through either headphones, or I'm humming or singing random music that just kind of helps me relax, and I try to get to the point where I can close my eyes and I can picture every inch of where I am.
Kind of sit in a corner to myself and just say his lines, but trying to get that emotional life / that dialect into one, still being clear. So I guess my process is taking a moment to understand the emotional life and then saying, you know, typical Queen's words that are used, so coffee and dog and walk.
Our first rehearsal, which was more along the lines of table work, she gave us a worksheet for our Queen's dialect. And one sentence that has helped me a lot is, your schweitz on backwards. Schweitz on backwards. I don't know what it is about that sentence, but it just helps me dive into the dialect.
I think Guare wants us to think about our dreams. I think there are things about what people dream about. A lot of the characters talk about their dreams, and I think we are all dreamers. And I think Guare wants us to think about what happens when we don't reach those dreams or the challenges along the way. I think it's about, you know, this desire for recognition, a desire for fame and success, and trying to figure out for ourselves what defines that success or happiness.